It's 6 a.m. in Washington, 1 p.m. in Athens. Hi, I'm Zain Verjee. You're watching CNN, the world's news leader, and this is World One live from London. High noon for Greece, high stakes for its EU partners. In just a few hours from now, EU ministers will be meeting to take a decision that will shape the future of the Eurozone. At issue is really whether or not to go ahead with a $170 billion aid package for Greece. Now, without the bailout, the Greek government would default on its debts and almost certainly be cast out of the Eurozone. Even if the EU approves the funds, Athens will have to have its work cut out with a host of conditions to be met by the end of February. Greece is also expected to announce a fresh round of budget cuts today, and that is the last thing people in Greece want to hear. Previous austerity measures led to rioting on the streets of Athens. So can people in Greece see any light at the end of the tunnel yet? Elinda Labropoulou is in Athens and she joins us now via Skype. Should we be optimistic that there's going to be a deal?
I think we should at this point. There are a lot of voices from all across Europe by now saying that this period of uncertainty has to end and that a solution needs to be found for Greece.
Greece has a lot riding on this meeting, but how do its partners in the Eurozone see things shaping up? I'm joined now by CNN's business anchor, Charles Hodson. Charles, break it down for us. What is riding on this?
I think an enormous amount is riding on it. It's the credibility of the Eurozone. It's the credibility of the currency. And as we seem to be moving towards a deal, we're seeing that with the currency riding up at 132.
Hodson, thanks so much. The Pentagon's highest military officer says the U.S. is not considering sending help to Syria's armed rebels until it's got a better idea of exactly who the rebels are. General Martin Dempsey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, told CNN, until we're a lot clearer about who they are and what they are, I think it would be premature to talk about arming them. Last week, more than 50 senior U.S. conservatives urged the Obama administration to start arming rebel fighters. In homes, medical help for anyone caught in the crossfire is really hit and miss. Activists say that security forces have detained almost 300 doctors to prevent them from helping the wounded and the dying. And stocks of food, medicine and water are dwindling by the day, as CNN's Arwa Damon reports from Homs.
On the horizon, thick smoke billows from a sabotaged gas pipeline.
Unfortunately, since Arwa filmed that report, we understand 19-year-old Aboudi and a patient suffering from a brain injury have died. But there is hope for two other people that you saw in her report. Mohamed Noor and Abad have been smuggled out of Syria to a hospital in Lebanon. A team from the United Nations nuclear watchdog has arrived in Tehran for the second time in less than a month to hold talks with Iranian officials. It comes amid suspicions that Iran's developing nuclear weapons. Now, to add to all the tension, Iran says it is cutting off oil sales to Britain and France. Well, no one's really holding out much hope of the inspectors getting a major breakthrough. CNN's senior international correspondent Matthew Chance has been following the story. He joins us now. What can the inspectors really achieve here?
Well, the inspectors have gone there with a specific reason, which is to try and answer some of the questions that have been raised by the UN nuclear watchdog agency.
CNN senior international correspondent Matthew Chance. Thanks so much, Matthew. When he lost his first game as a starting player for the New York Knicks, we all thought that Linsanity was about to come to an end. Instead, it is as mad as ever. Alex Thomas, always sane, is here to tell us why.
I try my best, thanks, Zane. Yes, basketball's hottest young star, Jeremy Lin, helped the New York Knicks bounce back from last Friday's defeat.
You're watching World One live from London. Coming up, welcome back. You're watching World One. Here are some of the other stories we're all talking about today. First came the test tube babies and then cloned sheep. Now, you could soon be eating test tube burgers. Lucky you. A Dutch scientist has come up with a way to create a meat patty without even getting near an animal. The mince comes from stem cells cultured from cow muscles. Now, if that makes you a little bit queasy, wait until you hear how much it costs. $330,000. Yep, at that price, it better be a whopper. The sun will rise every day, says Rupert Murdoch. The media tycoon says a Sunday edition of Britain's best-selling newspaper will publish its first edition next weekend. The Sun on Sunday will fill a gap left by the News of the World, which Murdoch closed last year because of details of a phone hacking scandal by News of the World, which journalists unfolded. Now, if only we could all age as well as Marge and Lisa. The US cartoon series The Simpsons has hit a major milestone. Last weekend, its 500th episode went out. Homer, Bart, and the rest of them have seen 4 US presidents come and go and kept on coming through 23 seasons, all without showing a single wrinkle. Isn't that amazing? Well, that's the beauty of television. From one of the longest-running TV shows to one of the oldest-known shapes on Earth, prehistoric man performed rituals in circular Stonehenge, also known as the mandalas. The Swiss psychoanalyst Carl Jung used them to heal lost souls. But the paintings, created as part of Jung's therapy, had never seen the light of day until now. Take a look at this, as Relitsa Vasilova explains. And finally, hundreds of thousands of revelers have descended on Rio de Janeiro for Carnival. The 5-day celebration began Friday. People in pretty elaborate costumes paraded behind lavish floats and samba bands. World One live from London, I'm Zain Verjee. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll bring you an update of the news headlines next.